Greetings, thanks for joining me. I'm Savannah from Black Witch Coven, and today this is a Ask Savannah video. So what that means is I have a bunch of email questions you guys have written in. It's on blackwitchcoven.com. Up the top it says Ask Savannah, and that's generally where you can put in some question you may have for me, and I will answer it in my own roundabout way, the best as I can, to the best of my knowledge. So we'll get stuck into that. But dear, it's been a few weeks since I've actually done a video like this. I've been busy doing the Tools of Witchcraft series. You may know, you may not know, you may not be interested. That's all good. And if you haven't been watching this series, because you'll probably think, oh, someone else talking about another damn tool of witchcraft. I'm trying to make this series a little bit different and interesting, not just holding up some tool and saying this is a dagger. What I'm trying to do here is share with you different ways that you can use the dagger, and I'm trying to be a little bit creative and think outside of the box with the way that I can share it with you. A lot of the times it's a way that we are currently, well, within our group, which really we're a global group, and at this stage of the game, a lot of us are following different paths and different traditions. We're still cohesive, but we're doing our own thing. And so I'm sharing with you different ideas. So you can give something a go. You might like it, you might not. You know, it's something a little bit different. And I will add my 2 cents here is that what we're finding with a lot of traditions is that if you don't fit the clique, then you can't stay within that tradition. You fall outside of the box. Oh, hold on, my kettle's boiling. Now I do feel like a YouTube witch having to turn off my kettle to make a cup of tea. In other news with us, Lady Hannah and Edwin are now providing palm reading. So if you're into that, you may want to check out that service on our website. That's something new. Okay, and what else? Oh, something just really, it's a private message. It's a big shout out to my boys in Melbourne, Australia, to Johnny and Mac. They're my doggy co-parents. When I left to come to the USA over a decade ago, one of my favorite animals, Max, which was a he was a Japanese Spitz. Two of my mates who had a very strong history of looking after their own animals decided to adopt Max and became Max's doggy daddies. And Max spent a wonderful 13 years with the boys. And so we only just lost Max. And so I know you guys watch this channel, and I know we've discussed it in person, but I just wanted to shout out formally. All right, so back to witchcraft. This is from Gerard, and he asked, should kava root be used to break or unlock a curse? I will be talking about the kava root in the coming video I'm going to be doing on the chalice or the cup, but I have never used kava for that reason. When I'm using kava, it's more of a, firstly, it's to really just relax and be able to get out of any concerns that I might have. And then secondly, it's really to help you enter into the astral plane. So I don't use it for spell crafting per se, okay? That's my answer. Theresa asks, I'm a little conflicted on spell casting. I have about the threefold law and have not decided if I believe it to be true. If you could put out a spell to, for example, to bind someone whom you believe is trying to harm you, either by spells or any other way, will that have a rebound or negative consequence to you? So if you are concerned about the karma from any spell, I would suggest that at this point in time, you should not cast the spell. Whenever I feel passionate enough to cast a spell on anyone, I 100% believe that I have stepped up to the spiritual altar and have a valid reason for asking whatever I'm asking, no matter if it's a very dark reason. If it's something that I'm passionate about and I'm ready to cast a spell on, I'm ready to release that. I'm ready to deal with any consequence that comes my way. Now, we talk a lot about this on YouTube these days because everyone's sharing lots of spells and rituals. But the backstory to that is that for us in the craft, especially witchcraft or any of these older traditions who have been practicing for a long time, we would have started off with a strong background and respect for protection and for understanding our limitations and the limitations of magic. So when we do cast a spell, we're not worried about the ramifications. So and in my consultations, you'll know this if you've ever spoken to me before, I will always say, don't do a spell if you're worrying about these type of ramifications. Maybe you're just not ready yet. So don't do any form of spell if you're not ready to fight something that could be unleashed as a result of the spell you cast. Chris asks, I'm very new to the craft. A guy raped my stepson. Living with him now, how do I curse him with no chance of backfire? Thank you for any help on this matter. Sorry, I should read some of these beforehand, but this is a video I could just actually probably talk about for a long time. A guy raped your stepson. How do I curse him without a chance of backfire? Living with him now. First, well, one of my pet peeves is people that don't remove a child out of harm's way. So if you've been listening to me for years, you'll know the one thing that I'm super passionate about and that I don't cast any form of hex or curse on is a child, because a child doesn't have a choice. They're stuck to your ass until the day they can find another solution to better themselves. So it's our job as adults to have any child that is in our care. If you have to step out of a good situation to protect that child, then that is your right. The idea of just laying a curse down without any chance of backfire on yourself, Chris, now you've only written 2 sentences, so I'm probably going to sound like a crazy bitch right now, but I don't have enough context. But why a curse doesn't mean that it's going to have the instant effect. When you lay down a curse, it could be instant. Maybe he gets in a car wreck today driving home from work, or maybe he gets cancer and spends the next 3 years suffering. But in the meantime, this poor kid is having to endure sexual assault from this shit for brains. So for me, I'm quite passionate about this. So, you know, Chris, I don't want to sound too hard on you because I don't understand everything in this one long sentence that you wrote. So yeah, I wouldn't be, the only backfire that's going to happen on you is that your child's going to hate you, or you're going to spend the rest of your income paying for that child's therapy into adulthood. Okay, next question. M. Monique asks, greetings S. Thank you for sharing your knowledge and assistance in us all improving our magic work. Which do you find more effective in baneful magic? To curse somebody who has done you an extreme wrong? A cauldron curse or hoodoo sour jar? I think, once again, you know, I can give general answers, and that's what it is. It's a general answer. But before I cast any type of spell, I always perform divination first. And these are the type of questions that I will ask to the spiritual world before performing any type of magic. So if you've ever dealt with us before, one of my first suggestions will be, why don't you have either a psychic reading or a tarot reading first? Not only will it save you money, but it's actually going to point you in the best direction for the fastest result. So that's actually the first part of the answer. Now, there's nothing wrong with even candle work. Candle work is low frequency energy consistently applied to the outcome. A spell is a fast zap, but there's many reasons why a spell might not work. And so, maybe the person's protected. Maybe you need to release that or undo that person's defenses. Maybe. There's lots of different maybes. If you're brand new, I would try, so when I was brand new, let me take a step back. When I was new, I wasn't just doing one spell. I was trying all the spells. So I would try, I was sometimes considerate of the planetary correspondence. Sometimes I was just going out there and, just giving it a go, seeing what happened. Back when I was learning magic, there wasn't YouTube and I didn't have access to a lot of witchcraft books. So I was just trying things, but I just didn't try one thing. I tried lots of things. And then sometimes I would write it down in my book of shadows, sometimes not. But I used to take a note on when I felt more energetic, what moon phase, what day I actually cast it, and what I did. And then you're going to find out very quickly for you what is the best type of spell work to do, which is most effective for you. So, to answer your question simply, I would do a hoodoo sour jar because a hoodoo sour jar requires consistent maintenance over a period of time to make that most effective. So that could be something quite good for you. Next question from Erica. Erica says, hi Savannah, hey. I've been following for a couple of years now. I'm not on the left-hand path. My practice is unique and kind of hard to articulate. My situation is this. My father has severe depression, and naturally my family has gone the route of many doctors, therapy, even considering other types of treatments. None of them so far have worked. This depression is so severe that he's lost his job and sits in his chair silently until he goes to bed. It's been hard on my whole family, especially on my mother. I was wondering, is there a magical answer that you know of? Every spell I've researched, I feel, won't be enough for something this serious. I'm not so much concerned for myself as I am for my mother, whose world has been turned upside down by this. Anything you can suggest would be appreciated. Thank you in advance. Oh, Erica, this is really tough, especially when it's a patriarch of the family, right? He is the one that sets the tone, the one that sets the pace. He gives the guidance. Maybe he's the breadwinner of the family. So it is really hard when the man of the family is apathetic or has clinical depression or manic depression or major depression, whichever one you want to call that, severe depression. And I'm assuming he's on some form of medication, and if he's on medication and doing therapy, it really is a long-term treatment program. There is no quick solution for clinical depression or major depression. It has its roots or foundation if it's long-term depression or has lasted over a certain period of time in his past. So I'm going to make sure that I don't put on my clinical psychologist hat here and I'll leave my witchy hat on, because of course this is a subject matter that I could veer off on a different tangent. So let me just share with you that it's a scientific fact that some people with clinical depression, long-term major depression, actually have spiritual attachment. So my first line of attack for you would be to come and be assessed. And in that assessment, we can really tell if there's some spiritual entity on him, keeping him in that state. Now, I'm not BSing you here. It's well known and well established, even in the scientific community, that some people are attacked by certain level of entities. And when they are under attack, it can manifest into things like schizophrenia, depression, anxiety, lots of other things. So I'll leave a link to that. I would have him assessed first, remove these spirits from him. And then, of course, the treatment program after that is to start restoring his aura and his chakra, basically his energy field, so he can find himself again. So after you remove a negative spirit or being from you, you're really not quite yourself as yet, because when a spirit has been in you or on you or in your field for a very long time, you've reset your sense of normality. And then when the spirit's removed from you, you're not quite sure if this is you. It probably feels abnormal not having the spirit attached. And therefore, there's a lot of other behaviors that people engage in when they're in this: drinking, drugs, doing other things consistently that will attach either or reattach spirits or attract a new level of spirits that vibrate also at that low vibrational level. So the first line of attack is to assess and remove, and then repair and repair. And then from that point, any medical treatments, which I do say you do still need medical treatments, will be more likely to have a successful result. So that's my very generic answer to this question with my witchy hat on. Last question. Hi, Savannah. When I'm doing rituals, sometimes I use many cards, about 2 to 3 sometimes, from the occult tarot deck per spell. Also, sometimes different ends come forward on YouTube during spells. Based on my experiences with this, can you call on more than one entity demon per spell? And or can you dedicate your spell to one demon and multiple demons come forward by themselves to take part during any point of the duration of a candle working ritual to assist? Woo, there's about 17 questions there. Thanks, HR. Okay, actually, I like your question. It's pretty cool. So what you're saying is that when you're doing a spell and you're calling on one demon or one spirit, can multiple spirits come forward even though you're not working with that spirit? Is that what you're saying? I think that's what you're saying. But yes, that is very, very possible and probable. So for example, we all know that I work with Astaroth, or if you don't know that, you do now. And when I'm working with Astaroth, in fact, some clients are quite surprised. Remember, this is a video to you guys who normally work with us. So I'll say to you, you'll say to me, okay, I've done a demonic pact with Boone or Clonic or Satan or somebody, and I'll be talking about Lucifer and probably some of the other demons that have actually stepped forward while I was doing that ritual. And the reason why is when I'm doing ritual, because the first demon I always connect with is Lucifer. He's the one that opens the gate. So when I go into my astral temple and there's a door there and I open the door, he's always in the temple. It's his temple. It's where I connect with him. And so it's through that temple I have a first connection with him. I always pay my respects to some other demons when I'm there, including Lilith, Hecate, Astaroth, of course. There's a couple of others. There's other like Lakshmi, the Saraswati. There's some other different gods and goddesses from different systems that are also up there that I've worked with. And so if I'm doing a spell in my astral temple and all of that energy's up there, it kind of makes sense that if they're interested, and I will say if they're interested, maybe they will step in place of the spirit that I'm trying to contact, and And at that stage, I really don't care. Or if I'm performing a spell for a client, maybe I'm not on my astral temple, but maybe because I've worked with so many spirits, another spirit will step in and say, I would rather take this over. And I will just allow that to happen. Now, some of you guys will get upset about that because you might say, well, hold on, I asked for you to do a spell with Clonic, and you have told me you've done it with Boone. And I'm just saying, well, okay, let me actually say what I say. What I say is that you can do it yourself, because if you know what it's like to actually summon and evoke a spirit and you've got it standing in there and you can say, excuse me, could you just go FO because I want someone else in the place? I wouldn't like to be you. So the point is that sometimes it's better just to go with the flow. Now, HR, I'm not saying you're like that. I'm just being stupid, right? At the end of the day, don't worry if other spirits come in, because, you know, especially in my temples, I want lots of spiritual energy there. It's all for one and one for all. If you want to be here and you want to work with me, that's awesome. And if you don't, you can sit in the sidelines and watch, or you can go. I don't mind, whatever you really want to do at this stage. Our gods and goddesses, most of them, not all of them, actually, they don't mind working together. It's not like the Abrahamic systems. We're allowed to work with lots of gods and demons and things like that. Everyone's a big, happy family. Well, maybe not, but that's what I will say. Anyways, thank you for listening. Remember, if you have a question for me, you can go on to blackwitchcoven.com. Up the top, there'll be Ask Savannah. Please, when you're writing these questions, it makes it easy if you put dots and commas in there, because I'm literally just printing a couple of these off and reading them fresh. I'm not going to edit them for you, okay? Okay, well, that's all I have to say today. I'm just going to go and make myself a cup of tea like a good little internet YouTuber witch and get ready to make you guys a chalice or a cup Tools of Witchcraft video. Bye for now, and blessed beast.